So the first time that we did like it's like a remote recording. It's the rehearsal and then a recording. I cried because I don't remember if it was Amanda or Aaron. One of them gave me, and I am not kidding, it was 3 pages of notes of all of the things that I needed to correct. That's how we learn our parts.
I am shooketh.
I know. It's wild. And when I went into it, it's like I pride myself in being a bomb reader because I came up playing violin. I want to be fluent in this language. So I've worked really hard to be a reader. And they're like, I mean, that's great. You are a great reader, but you're not getting the style without this demo.
Johnaye, welcome to Unmute the Voices. How are you?
I am so wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Of course you are wonderful. You have been nominated again. This is like 3rd time, 4th time.
You know.
For the Grammys.
Yeah, that's wild. It's really wild.
That is really wild.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does it feel?
Okay, so the first time it felt crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The second time it felt crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it feels so crazy. That's how it's just wild. It's so wild.
So wild, like how?
Well, it's like when you... Well, there are a couple of things that I think about with regards to the Grammys. Like, first of all, I'm not a person who's like, awards mean everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to keep myself focused on like the art and not get all swept away with the
Mm-hmm.
other things. And then I also just have to remind myself, like, it's wonderful to be celebrated and it's an honor to be celebrated, but there is so much incredible music out there that didn't get heard or like got passed over that is really incredible. So it's not, for me, it's not like, oh, this is the best thing. It's like, this is an offering, one of many, many beautiful pieces of music available to the world.
I appreciate the humbleness. I really do. But I mean, it's the most prestigious music. I mean, the Recording Academy is the most prestigious music organization in our country. And to be honored by your peers is great. And with your group Sage, which you have been with for some time, which is just outstanding.
Yeah. It's really special to share the spotlight and to share these awards with those beautiful women.
Mm-hmm. Is this something that you always dreamed of happening? Like, did you like create a vision board and say, okay, I want a Grammy Award?
You know, I'm embarrassed to say this actually, because I'm always like, oh, awards, they aren't everything. But you know that I'm like a queen manifester.
Listen. Yeah.
You know that I'm a queen manifester. I manifested twins, okay? So just for a little perspective. And I think there was a point in my youth where I was like, one day. And then there was a point when I had a really unsupportive professor in my undergraduate time. And I remembered thinking, like, one day I'm going to win a Grammy, and in the acceptance speech, I'm going to call out that person, which, like, obviously I didn't do because I'm painfully shy. And they were like, okay, so who's going to give the speech? And I was like, not me. I'm not doing that. So you see me in the back, but I do shout out my kid.
You do shout out. I watched it. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm one of these days, I'm gonna. So I think we did kind of make that happen, manifestation. But it was a dream when I was a bit younger and thought that everything was wrapped up in that. And as I've grown, it kind of became like, I mean, sure, I would love that.
So is this former professor following you on Instagram? Like, has he seen you with the...
I don't know where she is.
Oh, she. So can we be a little petty?
No. I will say.
I mean, I'll do it for you because we are friends.
I will say I studied with her in Chicago, and she's a piano player and a vocalist who I think still is in Chicago and if you really want to like dig deep, I was studying in 2001 at the Chicago College of Performing Arts at Roosevelt. So she was there for like a very short time. And yeah, that's as far as I'll go.
Okay, so Johnaye Kendrick fans, you know what to do. Fact check and
dig
find
deep,
this woman.
Dig deep. Oh my gosh.
I'm teasing.
I know.
Low key, not teasing, but
I mean, there are times when one deserves to lean into their petty, and I feel like I missed the boat on that one, and now it's just kind of like,
what are you talking about?
let it
We
go.
are both Virgos. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, the pettiness comes from like doing better. So
from being the best all the time, just like waking up, being the best. Virgos. Yeah.
So, okay. So going back to the Grammy, seriously. So your group Sage, right? You all live in different parts of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, how you guys make it look so easy. Do you just get on the phone and say, hey girl, like let's get together and make this album and win this Grammy? Like, is it that easy? Like, what is the process that goes into that?
You know, honestly, there was a huge stall when the pandemic happened because folks were like, what do we do? How do we continue to create art with other people? And Sage had already been together since 2018. So if you think about it, we were already collaborating remotely because we all live in different places. At that point, there were 2 in LA and 2 in Seattle. So we would have retreats like in Tacoma, in my house. And, you know, we'd do all of these different retreats and like get together. But a lot of our work was remote. Like and a lot goes into it. And the thing is, like, the big part about us receiving this recognition is that we did it without a record label. Like, we've never been signed to a label. No, like we released our album ourselves. Everything that we've done, we've like crowdfunded, won grants to make it happen. Like, we have not been signed to a label. And so that's the thing that's really remarkable. Yeah. And the thing is, we try to encourage specifically young women and non-binary folks into stepping into this. Like, a lot of folks will be like, oh, I want to do something like this. And we're always like, this is available to you. Like, you don't need a big machine behind you to create art that is, you know, impactful, you know, but there are like, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of critique and a lot, because so what we'll have one person who's responsible. Sometimes we'll collaborate on arrangements. We'll always collaborate on arrangements, but then like the orchestration of who sings what, when, shape, blah, blah, blah. There's usually one person at the helm of that. And they're very specific about what it is that they want to hear. Because everything that we've done, it's like, we don't get together and rehearse because we live so far apart.
Wow.
All of our rehearsals happen in our own little studio. So buckle up, boo. So we'll say Amanda is the producer of a particular song. Amanda will demo out every single one of our parts, everyone's part, like from the beginning to the end, with shaping, with breath, with everything that she wants. We, in lieu of getting together and rehearsing and receiving an immediate feedback, we actually go into our own studios and record along with the demo that's provided, removing our part and putting in our own voices, like singing specifically what Amanda has requested. Then Amanda pulls all of our parts she uses Pro Tools, I use Logic. We're like split half and half. Amanda pulls all of her parts into Logic, goes through and makes notes about every single detail that is not 100% in alignment with what her vision was. And it's like at the 21-second mark, you need to swell a little bit more. At the 24-second mark, you need to do a glottal attack rather than a breath attack. At the fall off isn't fallen enough. So the first time that we did it's like a remote recording. It's the rehearsal and then a recording. I cried because I don't remember if it was Amanda or Aaron. One of them gave me, and I am not kidding, it was 3 pages. 3 pages of notes of all of the things that I needed to correct. And that's our rehearsal. That's how we learn our parts.
I am shooketh.
I know. It's wild. And when I went into it, it's like I pride myself in being a bomb reader because I came up playing violin. So and then piano, and like we do all of this work to get to the point where you put something in front of me, I want to be able to read it because it's the language. I want to be fluent in this language. So I've worked really hard to be a reader. And they're like, I mean, that's great. You are a great reader, but you're not getting the style without this demo. So my process completely shifted from like, I'm going to learn everything by reading through it and practice, and then I'll check out the demo. No. Like the music is an afterthought. Like, because all of the information with regard to shaping and phrasing and life is in those demos. So we're like fully digesting, internalizing, and then recording. But the thing is, I got 3 pages of notes. I go in and I fix all of those things. Then I re-record again. Then maybe if I'm lucky, it's just 2 pages of notes. When I tell you, you don't get to have an ego in that group. Listen,
oh my God.
You want to talk about being humble. Oh my, I'm just like,
let's get this Grammy.
Listen.
Wow.
So that's what happens. And we break this down for folks because it's like, we can all do this. And it's one of those things that a lot of young up and coming artists are like reaching out to us about, and we are not the gatekeeper. There is no gatekeeper of this, right? So there's
the gatekeeper is the ear.
Listen. And so it's something that is available, but there's a lot of work. So it's like, yeah, no, anyone can do this, but also there is a lot that went into that first Grammy nomination. There's a lot that went in, a lot of tears, like we collaborate and we have these visions and there's like, we're emotional and we feel strongly about things. And it's 4 people. There is no leader of the group.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of learning that happens in that environment. And gosh, like my musicianship has
evolved.
How
have you changed as a musician since this process? I mean, you hear about, producers, etc., who go in and are very nitpicky during a recording process. But, how has your musicianship evolved and changed since doing this whole process?
Yeah. What's interesting is, I like my musical palette, it feels like it's exploded. Like there's so many sounds that are available to me that weren't a part of my vocabulary or weren't a part of my expression as an artist. So I feel like I don't know, it's like there's this explosion of color now with regard to the work that I'm doing removed from stage. And that's the other thing is like, one thing about ensemble singing is your part is your part. And as a solo jazz vocalist, I am an improviser. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what songs are going to sound like when I get on the stage. Like I give my band a roadmap, but I never want to sing the same thing twice in my solo work. Like I am really taking the time to express myself in that moment. And so being in an ensemble where it's like your part is your part and you have to find the places where it's appropriate to improvise and get away from what's written. Like I really dive into improvisation in my solo work now. And it's just like I have this playground where I get to make a mess and it's my mess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's one thing that's been like, it's been really great because in addition to like being able to run around and play more when I'm creating this music in my solo projects, I'm also still like informed by all of the many like beautiful, nuanced offerings that I've received from working with Sage.
Wow. That's amazing. It sounds very similar in a lot of ways to even just classical music, and because classical music is so particular and everything has to be so precise that you would not think that in jazz kind of ensemble singing, it's exactly kind of the same.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like there are times when, because we're like sisters at this point, there are times when we'll all kind of start to do something and know like, oh, this is what we finna do? Oh, okay, let's go. But it's not often that I'll just be like, all right, I'm going over here. Because it's like we all got to be together. We can't all go over there with you when we don't know what's happening in your mind. Where are you going? We don't have the roadmap, you know? So it's a balance, but you know, I don't know. I love it.
What sort of opportunities has been presented to you since receiving your first Grammy Award and numerous Grammy nominations?
Well, a lot of folks are wanting to collaborate, which is really fun. And
do you have to say no?
Sometimes
to
we
big
do.
Artists? Spill it.
I mean, sometimes we have to say no because we're working on our second record.
Okay.
And it takes a lot to get.
With that process,
oh God, hello. I think we're gonna, well, and then the other thing is, which I didn't say before, when we record and finally get everything like precise, we double it. So you need to get that perfect thing 2 times.
Oh my God.
And so I think we're changing how we approach recording for this next project to make it not so like intense, but it still takes time. And then, you know, like you need to be in the creative flow. And it's like, I mean, we're already struggling to prioritize our own individual work alongside the work of the group. And then, so we have folks coming who are like, oh, I really want to do this. So we've had to say no to a couple of people. There's one project that we're doing, which it's so funny because we started it in the beginning, like in 2019, we're like, okay, we're going to do this version of I Am Light by India Ari.
Oh, okay.
And India Ari Instagrammed us and was like, oh my God, like voice memos, like where do you guys come from? Oh my gosh, I love what you're doing.
What?
Yeah. And so
shout out to India Ari.
India Ari is, yeah. So the thing is though, we were working on our first record and we were like trying to connect with her. And the thing about India is that her process is her process. If things are not in alignment, it's not happening. And so as of right now, that's one of our big like collaborations that we're excited about. But we also are like, we wanted it on album number 1. Hopefully it'll be on album number 2. You know what I mean? It's just like, so, and there are things where like, if timing doesn't line up, then it's kind of tricky to be able to work with people, even though you really want to. So the collaborations have been a thing that have come up. And then just like interest from record labels. But, you know, the thing is, we're creating our own, we're wanting to do a lot of original music. And record labels are going to ask you to relinquish either control or publishing or, you know, like there's something that they're kind of interested in. And so those conversations, we've had them with the first record and it got to the point where it was like, you know what? I think we're good. And so for the second record, it's about the same. You know, we're having conversations and it's like some things might seem like they're a good fit, but like, you know, I don't know. We're figuring it out. And then invitations for touring and performing. But one of our girls, Erin, is on the road with Jacob Collier a lot of the time. And so that kind of slowed us down a little bit. And then also like Sarah moved to run the vocal jazz program at Eastman School of Music in Rochester.
Wow.
So she moved from LA to Rochester. Amanda moved to Boston. I'm still here and Erin is in LA. We're just like living life and in tandem with all of this stuff happening. And so like life sometimes slows us down and yeah, it's just.
But yet you're living
the
life.
Yeah. No, it's wild. And it's a lot of fun.
It looks like you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Unmute the Voices is sponsored by Key to Change Studio. Key to Change Studio is a violin and viola studio located in Renton, Washington, which allows middle and high school underserved students living in South King County an opportunity to take violin or viola lessons. For more information, visit their website at keytochangestudio.org. Now, back to Unmute the Voices. Let's talk about the prestige of the Grammys. Besides getting invitations to work with other people, is it bringing more money?
I don't know. I'd have to ask our manager.
Find out, because I got student loans.
Well, here's what's funny. Here's what's funny.
Can I get a loan?
Well, listen, here's the thing. From the beginning, like Sage is very responsible. Very responsible. So when we take a gig that pays $30,000, we're still only paying ourselves our $500 show rate. The rest of that money is going into the bank because mama got an album to pay for. So it's really funny. One of the most important, me, Johnaye Kendrick, my bank account be like, ma'am, how you did you not carry the two? Because we scraping the bottom over here. But Sage is like very responsible, and it's been like a saving grace for us for sure. But what was your question?
I just wanted to know, is it bringing more money?
I don't
know. The prestige of, the
mean,
Grammys. Like, I think there's that perception, right? That, they rolling in the dough now.
I mean, yeah, I think anyone who receives that kind of recognition is going to start to evaluate their value. And even, I mean, honestly, for me, I don't do gigs for money. Like, I don't think about it like that. Either I want to do the gig because I want to express myself, or I want to play with those people, or I want to be in that environment, or I don't. And so I have to be sure that, like, whatever the thing is, it's the thing that I want to do. And I think, like, we're all pretty good about, like, oh, this is a good fit. This will be good for us. Money is not always, for me at least, money is never really a determining factor.
Got it. What sort of advice would you give to an artist or creative who desires to have a decorated career like yours?
Well, one of the biggest things in my mind is just, it's such a long road. Be kind to yourself on the journey. And that is in the practice room. You know, I spend a lot of time reminding my students, like, this is a long road. And I heard what you just said to yourself. If you're going to continue to speak to yourself about your abilities, about your art, how you're so awful, how you messed that up. Oh, this is the worst. Why do I sound like that? Negative energy? It, like, and you think about the path that we can have as vocalists. Like, we're not ballerinas where we're done by the time we're 31. This can be a very long road. And if you are not mindful of the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you critique yourself, if you're not able to listen and find some beauty in what it is that you're creating, if you're not able to encourage yourself down this road, I don't believe that the road will be that long. You know what I mean? And so making sure that, like, we're honest, like, whoa, I did not play that passage right. And addressing that and getting to the point where you're able to execute whatever it is that you need to execute. But also, like, I didn't get that passage right, but the shape was really beautiful. With every negative thing that you find in your work, try to balance it out with something positive, just so that, like, as we are being critical, we're also being encouraging. And that starts with the self. Like, external forces are going to say and do and give and take and so on and so forth. But this journey that you're on is a single solitary, it's you and your art. Regardless of who's accompanying you, working with you, it's you and your art. And I genuinely believe that the road will be much longer if you're constantly surrounding yourself with, or offering kindness to yourself. That's my big one. I
needed that advice at 25 and 35.
Right?
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were speaking, I was reflecting on my own journey of all of the times when I was like, I'm not good enough. I suck. I'm terrible. I'm horrible. And just all of the toxic things that I was saying to myself as an artist that hindered my progress, and worrying so much about being perfect and trying to appease everyone else.
Yeah, and I think that is it's partially the culture. Like, that is the thing. That's how you learn. That's how you're taught, depending on your environment. And so there has to be some love somewhere that's counteracting that, sometimes the negative side of things.
Was there a moment in your career when you learned how to love yourself as an artist?
I think the blessing for me has been that I was never someone who operated from that scarcity mindset. Like, there's not enough gigs. Like, I never subscribed to that. And so I spent a lot of time focusing on myself and my art. And I made sure that I was always able to see other people thriving and doing really incredible things and being happy for them. You know what I mean? And having the ability to celebrate them. If I went up for a job and I didn't get it, my mindset was like, oh, that wasn't for me. I'm really happy for that person. So I have this, it's like a combination of things. I've always felt like everything that is for me will find me. I don't need, and this is actually to my detriment sometimes. I'm not banging down doors for gigs. I'm not like, hire me, I'm the guy. Like I said, I'm comfortable with you because I love you and I know you, but I'm a very shy person and I'm an introvert. And people think that I'm a completely different person because on stage, that's my playground, right?
Yeah.
But generally, if you see me at an event, I'm probably in the corner looking at the floor because I'm a very shy, introverted person. And so I've spent a lot of time in my mind focusing on myself, and I have these blinders. And I'm able to look up and celebrate and be like, oh, that's so great. I love that you got that gig that I went out for because it wasn't for me. And I don't want anything that's not mine. I'm not interested in it. So a big part of it was really just like, okay, I'm focusing on my thing. I am on my path. I can celebrate other people's victories and I'm minding my business. And then the other thing is my mom always used to say, what people say about you behind your back is none of your business.
Yes.
That I cannot tell you. Like, honestly, I cannot tell you how much time and energy that has saved me. You know, all I can be is who I am. All I have to offer to the world is what is available to me. And that is enough. And so when the fact that I'm not informed by these external forces that like affect my value or my self-worth or how I view myself, like I don't have that. I'm just like, look, I ain't for everybody. I'm not. And my music isn't for everybody. You may hate it today and love it tomorrow. I don't know. That's none of my business. None of that is my business. I'm out here expressing myself and trying to create art that, you know, is representative of my world and hoping that other people will like, it'll resonate with other folks. But that's all I can do. That is all I can do. And so I feel like it saves me a lot of energy and a lot of time to actually just focus on what it is that I want to focus on. Another thing you asked me about earlier, I don't remember what this question was, but you you asked me earlier if I had some advice. And I want to say, and it's really important for me, it's my spirit. It's like, you have to say this right now. We live in a world where we like have access to a lot of music and a lot of sounds and people are expressing themselves all over the place. And I think that somebody needs to hear that just because your art doesn't sound like anything you've ever heard doesn't mean it isn't incredible. And sometimes you are the trailblazer. Sometimes you're like working something out and it's like, no one gets what I'm doing. No one really understands this. Stay on that path because there has to be someone who creates this new sound. There has to be someone that introduces the world to this new way of expressing themselves. And I think like when you spend time looking around at what everyone else is doing, you can lose touch with who you are and your like true journey towards like this, whatever it is that you have to offer the world. So like, just because it doesn't exist doesn't mean that it isn't incredible. Just because you don't sound like everybody else doesn't mean that you are not finna change the world with your art.
Yeah.
Nothing like Sage existed. And we were just like, I mean, because it's kind of weird because we're a vocal jazz ensemble. And when you hear vocal jazz ensemble, you think Manhattan Transfer, you think the High-Lows, you think New York Voices. And we're approaching it from a much like a more, it's like informed and rooted in the jazz tradition, but we're using contemporary sounds and
it's
like
fresh.
It's
fresh.
Yeah. And like we're breaking rules. Oh, you're not supposed to double that part of the chord when you're doing this voicing. When you like we're breaking rules and it's like, listen, it's against the rules. We were told not to do it, but it feels good and it sounds good. And so we just gonna do it. And if you don't like it, skip the track, move to the next one.
Breaking rules and winning Grammys.
I mean...
Good for you. Good for you. You have a very full life. You're a mother of twins.
Yes. Yeah.
Which you manifested.
Yes.
You tell them that. Do they know that?
No.
You should tell them.
I will. Oh, they're going to love it. I don't think I've told them.
You should tell them.
I'm always telling them, like, I made you from scratch. And I'm like, how many bodies do you get? Because they are, they're running around and then you hear a bam. And it's like, did you just hurt yourself? Yes. How many bodies do you get? One body. Can you take care of that thing I made you, please? We ain't got replacement parts around here. Can you take care of this body I made you? But yeah, I need to tell him that I'm.
And then Stefan, your husband, in the background was like, I'm 50% of that.
No, he just lets me talk crazy. He's like, okay, babe. You got it, babe. All right, babe.
Well, having twins and a husband, working at Cornish,
yeah,
performing all over the world. The last time I spoke to you, you were in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Just doing the thing. How do you manage it all?
I mean, honestly, like you said it, Stefan, my husband, he's a saint. He is a saint. There is a special place in heaven for that man.
You got a good one there.
Listen.
I remember the journey.
You do. You were there. Okay, wait a minute now. How far we finna be getting into this? Wait a minute.
I knew you would.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like he's so, it's just that the kind of support there, like people, and then people ask me this all the time, especially when I'm like in another country. How are you here? Like,
because my man at home taking care of them kids.
Taking care of his kids. You know when people be like, oh, I'm babysitting my kids. Child, you ain't, they're your kids. What you talking about? So he's really flexible, and he's, doing everything that he can to support. And he was there recording when we won last year. And it's like, I remember his face and I'll never forget it, because he's like recording. And there's a second where like, they're like, in the wee small out, and he's just looking at me. And then oh my God, like he was so shocked, and I will forever just see his face in that moment. He was so happy. And I'm like, man, could not have happened without him. Could not have happened. Seriously.
How important is having a supportive spouse or partner to an artist?
Oh gosh. I mean, you got to do some shopping. Like I had to shop.
Girl.
I did.
Listen.
The hip, like I do. Because
and some of the stores you was shopping at was suspect.
Listen.
I ain't going to tell you business.
I mean, one of them was your fault. One of them was your fault. It's okay.
Was it a thrift store I sent you to?
Pretty much. You sent me to the Goodwill.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it was a journey. It was a journey. And the thing is, you want someone that's going to celebrate you. You want someone that, like, he does not understand music at all. Actually, I got him piano lessons and he was pretty good. He's an engineer. He's got an MBA. He's like that. His brain is in a different place than mine. And I'm a very sensitive and emotional person. Sometimes I'll be like frustrated about, like, it's usually women's rights. Like I get really angry and I'll be like storming through the house and he'll just freeze. He won't move. Like those animals in the wild, there's fight, flight, freeze. He just is like, let me get out of the way. Let this artist express herself. You got some, okay, I go ahead. You got it. Like super supportive and like indulges my cuckoo-ness. And he's great.
He's a great guy.
He's a rock of a human. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you came on the show.
Are we wrapping up already?
Well, kind of, but no.
Okay, good. Because we're having so much fun.
Oh, good. Well, I have a couple of surprises for you. I know that you had said that you were very nervous about the Grammys, and we got one gift for you because you're a singer. So we have a microphone for you. It matches your dress.
First, I was afraid. Oh my God, I'm Mariah Carey now. call me Mariah.
Well, I know that you like bling. Clearly, you like color.
I love my color. Oh, this is so cute. The girls are gonna steal this from me. I hope you know.
I got the girls some stuff
Oh,
too.
okay. They're like, Mommy, that's ours now, right?
Well, because I know you like toys, so I got them a couple of little toys.
Oh,
too.
you're so cute.
Yeah. So I got that. So I got another surprise for you.
Okay.
And so you were talking about how you were nervous about the Grammys and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to win and all this stuff. So in the case that you do or don't win, we got you your own personalized Grammy Award.
Oh my God. What?
Yep.
This is
Unmute the Voices Grammy Award.
Are we zooming in on this? Oh my gosh, this is going next to the real one in my house. It's going next to it. And then
you have to turn it around so they can see.
Unmute the Voices. This is adorable.
You like it?
I love it.
Good. So, congratulations. It's a big deal.
Thank you so
that
much.
You've been nominated so many times.
Holy moly.
But no, seriously, you're amazing, and we're just so proud of you and so glad that you came on the show.
Oh my gosh, it's an honor, and congratulations to you. You're doing so many amazing things. You really are. Talk about trailblazing. You really are.
Thank you. Well, you have to come back.
Cannot wait.
Okay, good. And thank you for watching this episode of Unmute the Voices. I'm Dr. Quinton Morris. Enjoy your day.